To say that the Chicago Bulls have been disappointing as of late, I think would be a bit of an understatement. But one of the things that have also been disappointing about the Chicago Bulls so far is the treatment of Matas Buzelis, despite the impact he's been able to have on the court. We're going to talk a little bit about that and why I'm finally, and not me not say finally, I'm done and over Billy Donovan. And it's time for Billy Donovan to go. We're talking about all that plus the mailbag right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. Hey, comments from Billy Donovan, right? Listen, I get frustrated from Billy Donovan quite often, but recent comments from this, he said this in regards to Matas Buzelis. Buzelis has got to understand the things that go into winning, how he can help, how he can impact winning, and the things he has to do on a consistent basis. I've basically told him coming off the floor, they're going directly at you. You're going to have to make a stance here. Yeah, think that's a great growth thing. Instead of saying, hey, Matas, don't worry about it. Just keep playing, man. Keep doing it. Those are things there that a lot of people may not see as being valuable, but they're incredibly valuable because it creates clarity for him about what he knows he needs to do. And he and I spoke about it today, and he felt that he's got to be a player. We can't take a young player and say, okay, we're just going to try to hide him on these different players so he doesn't have to be exposed to that. And he's had every opportunity to be in those situations. Billy Donovan, what the hell are you talking about? Like, here's the thing, right? And in no way am I trying to, this isn't, and I want to make it clear here, I'm not having the conversation on should Matas Buzelis start over Patrick, because I know that's not going to happen. I'm trying to make the case for Matas Buzelis should be playing more minutes for the Chicago Bulls. You look at him last night, for example. He played 3 minutes in the second half of a game. And it happens way too often for Matas Buzelis that he does not play in the second half of games after having a pretty solid game, right? That's the thing. And I get it. No rookie is going to be perfect, especially on this Bulls team with the defensive liabilities and everything that we have. There's not a single chance of Matas Buzelis being near perfect. He's gonna get cooked defensively at times. But Matas is somebody who has shown is if you play him and allow him to go through the mistakes, he's gonna learn through them, right? And so while Billy Donovan says like we don't want to just put him out there, like what are you doing? I just want to go over something, right? And I know the level of competition. I want to be clear here. Matas plays on the second bench unit, so he's playing against bench guys. But when Matas Buzelis, who's played 500 minutes, so this is not a small sample size, the Bulls are +5 when he's on the court. +5 point differential when he's on the court. That should tell you that he's actually having a pretty solid impact. The estimated wins added by Matas Buzelis, again, small sample size, 12. 12. That puts him at one of the highest on the team. His offensive rebounding percentage, it goes up by 3% when he's on the court. Opposing teams, when Matas Buzelis is on the court, score 5.7 points less per 100 possessions when Matas Buzelis is on the court. They turn the ball over, they get less rebounds, and the free throw rate goes down. It's very simple. Like, I'm not saying that Matas Buzelis should be playing 25, 30 minutes per game. I'm not saying that. That's not the conversation that I'm trying to have. But it's clear that Matas Buzelis should be averaging more than 12.7 minutes per game that he's averaging. This is a young kid who has the mentality to go out there and get it done, right? And you want him to learn and grow through it. And it feels like, to me at least, that Billy Donovan continues to take away opportunities that are growth opportunities for Matas Buzelis. It's bad enough that Billy Donovan already does not actually have a development plan. When Matas Buzelis is out there, he's just out there. It's not like Billy Donovan's like, yeah, let's run a couple of pick and rolls for him. Let's run some lob opportunities for him since we know he can get up. Billy Donovan isn't doing that. Matas is still just standing out there in the corner, basically. Now, he's moving off the ball a little bit more frequently. That's great to see. But when you look at the month of January, he's averaging 11.8 minutes per game. And it once again, like, and I get it. I know it's easy to harp in, and I fought against it. It's not that Billy Donovan doesn't play rookies. He does. P. Will played as a rookie. Io played as a rookie. Julian Phillips played as a rookie. Was on pace to play about 60 games before he went down with injury. I've said all this a lot of times. Dalen didn't play it much as a rookie. He was extremely raw, and Marko Simonovic sucked. But it's not just about playing them. It's also about how you structure it and structure the minutes and structure the development. So good. I'm glad that Billy Donovan's saying things like, oh, you got to make a stand here. Cool. But Billy Donovan, when are you going to make a stand as a head coach and draw up something, right? It's easy to tell your players that they need to make a stand, but what the hell are you doing to make a stand? How are you helping this team? And I'm not blaming everything on Billy Donovan. I had an episode a couple of months ago where I said, is Billy Donovan a problem or is he also a victim of the weak roster construction that the front office has had? And I do think that there is a bit of that as well, but Billy Donovan, the inability to draw up inbounds plays, the inability to adjust to what other teams are doing, the inability to really have an actual plan of the development for your young players, what are we talking about? And as this team continues to go younger, and it seems like they have a really good chance to keep their pick this year, what are we doing? Billy Donovan has failed this team. He's failed this city. Now, he's not the only one, but I'm over the Billy Donovan isms. Billy is so good at talking and having a level of awareness about everything else but his own coaching. And I've gotten so frustrated to the point, again, like I said, it's not all on Billy Donovan. There is a lot that the players fall at. There's a lot with the roster construction that is falling at. A lot of that has happened. Make no mistake about it. But Billy Donovan continues to be something that, when you look at it, do you really feel like Billy Donovan has helped raise the ceiling of this team at all? Like, honestly, this team is on pace to win about 34 games now, right? With the 41% win percentage. And I can tell you right now, I think Wes Unseld can coach us to that. I think Dan Craig can coach us to that. It's not like Billy Donovan and his coaching is bringing something that's so valuable to this team that it's like, oh my God, if we lose Billy Donovan, we're just going to lose all these things. But then again, like I said, and like I've told other people before, the reason why I don't complain a lot about it because I know they're not firing Billy Donovan. But at some point, and I hope it doesn't happen when it's too late, that this Bulls team is going to look back and say, how many players could we have developed if we had a head coach that was better at development? Now, Billy Donovan is a fine coach for if you have, a bunch of stars and you're ready to compete. I think he can do a good enough job. But if you're talking about a coach that needs to provide some leadership, needs to provide some structure, it's not there. And I've given Billy Donovan I've commended him. He fixed the relationship with Zach LaVine. He took ownership over that, going out and hanging out with Zach LaVine, meeting with him over in the summer, right? He changed the offense to make us a more high-powered, fast-paced, three-point shooting offense. Right now, we still got some problems in the half court. But when you look at Billy Donovan, like, is this the guy that you want to lead possibly the next phase of your team? We don't have any off-ball movement. That's simple basketball. We don't have any pick and roll, offense or defense. Simple basketball in there as well. How can you expect these young players to grow and develop when we can't even operate the fundamentals correctly? And that's where my problem with Billy Donovan continues to lie. I am personally done and over Billy Donovan. Now, that does not mean that anything's going to happen or change over that time. It just doesn't because, again, we're the Chicago Bulls. We have apparently a kinship with Billy Donovan, and it is what it is there. But I'm still looking at this, and I'm just saying, man, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to see a team that just needs somebody who just can freaking lead. And we don't have that, right? Every metric, right? We talked about it a couple of episodes ago. Matas Buzelis has been the best at guarding 2-point field goals in the league. He's the best non-big defending at the rim. Now, of course, the level of competition that he plays against, cool. But there's a lot of other people that are on bench units that aren't ranked that high. So, again, I'm not saying this to say that these things are going to maintain if Matas was to play 20, 25 minutes. I'm just here to say that he's actually thriving in a little bit of role that you have him. So why can't you? That's the whole point. If you're giving them a role and a little bit to do, and they're thriving in that, they're actually having a positive impact as you just went over the numbers, why not give them a little bit more and see what they do with a little bit more? But no, that's not how Billy Donovan does it here in Chicago. And as long as that continues to be the thing, we're going to continue to sit where we are. And there's some other things that go on with that as well. But overall, this is just, it continues to be a very frustrating aspect of where this team is. And, it's not going to change. It is what it is. And we'll just continue to hope and pray and wish for the best that eventually somebody wakes up and the Bulls can be a better team. But all right, it is Sunday, so that means it is Mailbag Day. Let's get into these voicemails, man. This first one's from Soul.
This your boy Soul calling for Toledo, Ohio. Today is Thursday the 23rd, and truthfully, I just wanted to say I am not mad about last week in the Bulls and the losing that they had going on. Truthfully, we got a front office that doesn't really seem like they want to pick a side. So I'm like 10,000% with Haize when he said that this is a bad team. He predicted about 35, 36 games, I think you said at best. Me, at the beginning of the year, I picked about 33, so I'm right there, like, with you. Because the front office don't want to pick a side, I'd rather that the true Bulls come out and lose the game. Not tanking, but show your true colors. You know what I'm saying? That whole, at times we step up and beat better teams and stuff like that, but we turn around and lose to lesser teams. I mean, that's our true colors, The teams step up when they want to step up. When you got a bunch of people like Patrick Williams who show up sometimes, don't show up, and like you said, usually we hop on his defense. When you look up at, like you explained, his defense this year is not even that good. What? Everybody scored 67% on him? That's not a good rating. Let this team really show up. If losing is the case, like I said that last year, when we went to the play-in and we beat Atlanta, I swear I came in and I said, I wish we would have lost that game. And turned around, Atlanta turned around and pulled the number 1 draft pick for this year. It was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather leave that stuff up to God and just let it be what it's going to be. Like, I believe that this is a bad team and the defense is not there. Scoring-wise, they okay. Kind of middle of the pack, a little bit lower scoring-wise, but defense-wise, even though they have got better from the beginning, they're still not there, and they need to be more for that. But that's all I wanted to say. Like I said, your boy Soul from Toledo. Man, enjoy C-Red, man. Chicago Bulls.
The real Chicago Bulls have shown up. I completely agree with you. Like, and like I'm always going to say, this team is going to have some games where they're going to look great. I would not be surprised if the Bulls beat Denver on Monday. I would not be surprised with that at all. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls get another 2 or 3 game winning streak going on at some point in time. But the fact is that the Bulls are inconsistent, and part of the reason that they're inconsistent, like I talked about in the last segment, is because they don't do some of the basics correctly or consistently. We don't have off-ball actions to move. We don't run a pick-and-roll offense well at all. We don't run a half-court offense well. We can't defend a pick-and-roll. We can't identify mismatches. These are things that just continue to hurt the Chicago Bulls. And I predicted them to win 30 to 35 games. I think I said 30 to 34 games, honestly, but I rounded it up to 35 just because it sounded better, right? But it just, like, this team is just so utterly disappointing. And for people who really thought this team was going to, like, do something, like I said, the people that were arguing with me that this Bulls, oh my God, we're only a couple of games out of 5th. How you feeling now, right? How are you feeling now, right? And we'll see where this team, man, maybe they surprise us. Maybe something happens over the remaining part of the season, but it doesn't feel like it. It's 36-ish games left on the season for the Chicago Bulls, and hey, we'll see where this thing shakes out at. All right, let's get into the next voicemail, man. This one's from Shop Liz, I think is what he said his name is.
Yo, Haize, what up? Shop Liz, man, you know what I'm talking about. Just had a couple things I wanted to throw out there right quick. Dallas Mavs, I follow the channel often. You the dopest for what you do, my brother. Dallas Mavericks shopping Daniel Gafford, for what I understand, and I know you said they were looking for a wing player. What's the chances of us shipping off P. Will in exchange for Daniel Gafford? I don't know the numbers. I'm not here to claim like I'm this expert when it comes to the numbers, but you know what I'm saying? I just want to know, is that a possibility, us swapping out P. Will for Daniel Gafford? Also, on another note, I hear you always say how we're not a great team, and we're the 10th seed in the East, But realistically, when I look at the 10th seed and the 5th seed, it's not a whole lot of, it's like a 4 or 5 game difference. So how bad of a team are we actually where a piece or two wouldn't make the difference? And I say that to say, no, I'm not the biggest on Bradley Beal coming here to Chicago if that was to happen with that and the possible lottery picks. But could he possibly come and spark some on the team? Not saying that Zach isn't playing great. Zach is playing great, but Bradley Beal isn't a bum at the end of the day. So even though he's only averaging, 17 points in Phoenix right now, of course, coming to the Bulls, I'm sure he can get a lot more touches. He would average a lot more points. He would be a lot more effective on the floor, seeing if he can stay healthy. Is there a possibility he could come and, offer a spark? That's all I'm saying. Not necessarily take us to the big championship, but offer a spark. Let me know what you think about that, man. As always, keep doing a phenomenal job. Feel me? And salute going out to the platform. I'll let you later.
Gafford for P. Will won't happen. I think that it's not going to happen. Now Daniel Gafford is a player that I do like. I do think that he does offer a different dynamic for this team. But I mean, I think if anything happens, especially now with the Mavericks' rumored interest in Vooch, it may be something built around Gafford. And I can't remember. Somebody came up with a great deal where it was like Vooch and THT for Gafford and somebody else to make the money work. I can't remember. Maybe it was Torrey Craig. But as far as your other thing, Bradley offering a spark, bro, what are you talking about? Bradley is a worse player at every facet on offense, defense than Zach. Bradley offering a spark? No, it's not happening. You don't get I get what you're saying. Like maybe somebody with new energy can come in, but no, this team is cooked. This team is cooked, and this is just where we're going to be at this season. I think we just need to embrace it and realize that it could end up being the best for the future. And that's just what I think, and we'll see what happens here, man. I think, but hoping that somebody like Bradley Beal is going to come in and provide a spark, come on, man. And even you saying, and I'm not trying to, you have the right to your opinion and how you view things, but even say, well, I looked at it, the Bulls are only a couple of games out of fifth. Look at the way that team's playing, those teams are playing, and look at the way that the Bulls are playing. There's been a lot of injuries all up and down from teams as well. The Bulls right now are 4.5 games behind the 6th seed Detroit Pistons, but the Bulls play with a negative 3.6 point differential, and the Detroit Pistons have a 0.9 negative point differential, meaning they're a lot closer to being in the positive overall. And like I told you guys before, point differential is usually one of those things that kind of always ends up shaking out and evening out. It just is. That's just, if you look at the history over the last few years in the Eastern Conference, point differential usually does help determine the order. So the Bulls aren't really close to those teams. They're just not. And the Bulls got a lot that they need to figure out before they can really get into that. And Bradley Beal ain't the answer to that, brother. All right, let's get into the next voicemail, man. This one's from Brian Washington.
Hey, what up, Haize? This is Brian Washington, man. I ain't called in a minute. But, man, I've been checking things out, checking out the show and shit. Been wanting to comment, but ain't really been saying nothing because I'm kind of this team is I'm kind of letting them go for this year, you know what I'm saying? Because all the bullshit, they don't know which direction they want to go in. But to me, it's the organization, man. Everybody wants to trade Levine for assets, but what's the point of getting assets and young players and these draft picks when they can't develop the players they have? It doesn't make any fucking sense because the Bulls, throughout their history, outside of the Jordan era, the Bulls never really went and got the pieces that they needed. Even when they had Derrick Rose, look at all the two guards they had. All the two guards they had pretty much played the same fucking role. They did the same thing Ray Allen was doing in Boston. Kyle Korver, Mike Donlevy, Rip Hamilton, they all pretty much played the same fucking way. They never really went and got Derrick Rose, that dog he needed. You know what I'm saying? His sidekick. And the same thing with Zach LaVine. LaVine is not the problem. Vooch is not the problem. They won't give Vooch no fucking help. They forcing Patrick Williams to be a power forward that he's not. He can be, but I don't think Patrick Williams believes he can be a power forward. You know what I'm saying? So they never really went and got the pieces, even with the team last year. We needed big men. What they do this year, go sign all these fucking guards. And where are they all at? In the G League. Or are they not playing? You know what I'm saying? So it's the organization, is Billy Donovan and his fucking coaches, is AK and them. You know what I'm saying? They not going to get the pieces that this guy needs. They never really went and got, besides DeRozan, but shit, DeRozan is an older player. They never really went and got LaVine a sidekick. You know what I'm saying? They never really got the pieces that they need, and we clearly need big men, but they clearly not going to do that. They steady looking at draft picks and assets and shit. How young do we want the team? Do we want babies running around on the court? We got a fucking young team. They just won't develop them. It's not. And who said these draft picks is going to do us any good? It's like we sitting, and the rest of the league is like, it's fucking trash right now because it's not the Bulls just playing bad basketball. Look at Kevin Durant and all these teams with superstars on them. They're not playing any fucking better than the Bulls. And you know why is that? Because the league is so, everybody's running down the court, shooting threes. The league is fucking trash basketball to me today. That's why nobody can play defense. And B came and stay healthy. He can't run with this shit that's going on today. You know what I'm saying? Players can't stay healthy. It's not even a big man league no more, really.
Brian, every time you call in, like, and again, I love you, brother. So please, this is us having a sports conversation. Every time you call in, you say the same thing about, oh, we don't need no more young players. Why? Like, you have to understand this. Now, players got to want to come here, which has been already a problem for the Chicago Bulls. And you have to look at the realistic runway that you have to turn this thing around. Yes, Zach is good. Vooch is good. Yes, the organization has failed. But that's part of the reason why. The runway to turn this thing around, to say how many young players you want. You need young players. If the Bulls are ever going to be a championship contender, it's going to come via a young player developing and turning into a star. Because we don't pay the luxury tax. We've never been a free agent destination, and we're not going to make the big type of trade. We're not we're not LA where somebody's going to want to come just by the nature of us being in LA. So I think that's the first thing that you got to realize. You call every time and say the same thing. We did that, right? And you say that we didn't get Levine a running mate. We did. We got him Lonzo. We got him Vooch. We got him DeMar. We got Alex Caruso. We drafted Ayo Dosunmu. It was a pretty solid team. But then again, injuries, whatever happens, happens. At some point, you have to make a pivot. If you keep holding on tight to what you have and not realizing you may have to change direction, you're going to be left in the middle of the pack for the next few years and then look back at it and say, we probably should have taken a little bit more consideration over our young players. You have to understand the importance of youth. Look at all the teams in the NBA. Look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, they traded for Donovan Mitchell, but Evan Mobley, they drafted. They developed there, right? Darius Garland, they drafted. They developed there. They got Jared Allen in a trade as well, but he wasn't really who he is now. Boston Celtics, we know their core, their top two players they drafted. The New York Knicks, they're a little bit of the outlier there, right? Let's look at the Western Conference. Oklahoma City Thunder, all draft, but now they made a trade for Shea, and they were able to get a lot of picks because they moved off superstars. The Memphis Grizzlies, they drafted most of those players. The Houston Rockets, they drafted most of those players. Denver Nuggets, they drafted a lot. They traded for some as well. You have to have a base of young players that you developed here. So not understanding the importance of drafting and having young players that you can develop. Now, yes, as you pointed out, we haven't developed guys the best. But you got to understand the importance of developing young talent. It's not as simple as, oh, we got these guys, they're good. Let's just add a center. It's not that simple. You don't walk into Walmart and be like, let me get one of them defensive switchable centers. Let me get that off the rack. It's not that simple. So Brian, like I get it. Like I understand that going that pace is not quick, right? But let's be clear here. We've done this for 5 years almost. We're almost 5 years into Billy Donovan. And where have we been that whole entire time? At some point, you have to make a shift, and you have to focus on your development of your young players if you really want to go somewhere. They gave it a try with veterans. It didn't work out. You can't have your foot in both places, and unfortunately, the Bulls are not a free agent destination. Like at some point, you really, 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 really just got to understand the importance of developing and drafting. And especially in the new modern era with the second tax apron, that's going to be even more important. So I can't get with you on this thing of, oh, we don't need no more young players. How young do we want to be? As young as we need to be to develop these players correctly so we can have something that we can build a foundation on. Because when you build it with veterans that already have high contracts, your runway is a lot shorter. That's just my opinion on it. But all right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's for Michael Korn.
Hey, Haize, how you doing? Michael Korn here. Hey, I just finished listening to your Saturday pod. This is right before 76ers Bulls game. First of all, right after New Year's, after the Derrick Rose night against the Knicks in San Antonio, I boldly went out on a limb and said a good goal would be to like 5 games about 500. You didn't laugh at what I said. You took it serious and analyzed that. I appreciate that. But, man, they crashed this. And, obviously, I don't think them even getting to 500 is realistic at this point. Couple things. In terms of trades, I want to know your thoughts that if Bulls were just doing a Vooch trade to get Gafford in some way, I would like that because I think that would be an upgrade because, I see Vooch, okay, he's having a good season, fine. But his stuff, his 20 and 10, I'm sorry, I just don't see that as impactful. When I watch Gafford, I see how he plays on defense, protects the rim. He's always running. And he's got attitude, and he puts in effort. And so I actually think he's a better center. It could be just because he's with the Mavs and he has either Kyrie or Luka. Any case, so I live about an hour away from South Philly, where the 76ers are. As a lifelong Bears fan, I want the Birds to lose tomorrow, but as a longtime Bulls fan since 1966, mate. I'm ambivalent about the Bulls beating the 76ers. It's kind of the first time I could really remember not rooting against the Bulls, and I'll see how things are when I watch the game tonight. But I wouldn't be mad if they lose and the 76ers, move ahead of them at this point. I'm good if they keep Zach Donovan, from what you said, the Patrick Williams or actually the AK with Patrick Williams, but Billy Donovan also is the Patrick Williams, and they got their Patrick Williams. And damn, you can't give Matas any time to meaningful minutes to develop. I know you've been professing that. Anyway, love the show. Thanks for providing great content all the time, every day for how many episodes now. It's crazy that you can do it. Please keep it up. A lot of disgruntled Bulls fans, including myself, who dig turning on and hearing what you have to say and what your listeners come back with. Hey, have a good one, man. Bye.
Daniel Gafford an upgrade over Nikola Vucevic? I don't personally agree with that. He's different, and that's the thing that I've kind of always had conversations about over the years when people are like, well, we just need a defensive big in here instead of Vooch. Okay, and that's cool, right? And it's easy to say, hey, we need to bring in somebody who has a different skill set than Nikola Vucevic. Great. But, all right, what about the things that Vooch does do well that helps the team, right? I get it, you say that his 20 and 10 isn't impactful, but Daniel Gafford right now, and I like Gafford, but just when he's on the court, they have a negative 7.1 point differential. They score less points per 100 possessions when he's on the court. And despite him being a defensive center, when he's on the court, opposing teams are scoring 6 points more per 100 possessions and outscoring the Dallas Mavericks. Right? So he does bring a lot. And I would love to see Daniel Gafford with a Josh Giddey and Alonzo Ball for the lob threat that he could be with those guys. But I think overall, I don't know if he's an upgrade over Vooch. He's just different. Now, sometimes that difference can end up helping you in a lot of ways as well. But I won't necessarily say he's an upgrade personally for me, but I respect your opinion on it for sure because, hell, we've seen Vooch and his non-defensive ways for so long. Why not try something different, right? But the Bulls do suck. And I think when it comes down to it, man, it really, the place that this team is in right now is such a sucky place. But we got to take our medicine and we got to come through the other side of it. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the last voicemail for the day. This one's from Corn.
What it don't do, King Drip, it's the brother Corn. Let's get right into it, man. This team is what I've been saying with this team. I'm not going to say team change and stuff. You're right about that. Let's look for another something else. I'm just going to say team keep the pick. That's what I'm on. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's the only light at the end of the tunnel that I feel like that we got right this man. And let me say this, man. For the fans that want us to win, you're not wrong feeling that way. I know I've been on this time to watch the party die, and I might crash out if they don't make any trades. At this point, how we lose it doesn't matter if we make any trades or not. Like Haize said, man, this team is bad, man, and regardless of what's going to happen, I'm thinking of it, if we make these trades, and I hope we do, I just want everybody to know it's going to get a lot worse. I don't want, what Drip was saying, man, don't think they're going to make trades to make the team better. We got to burn it down and build it up, so don't, we gonna get through this together, you know. C-Red, we gonna get through this together, man. And like I said, man, the light at the end of the tunnel is the 2025 pick. Don't get mad if we don't get a top 5 or whatever. I'm not really tripping on Cooper Flag. You know what I'm saying? Ace Bailey. My guy is Hugo Gonzalez. I want Hugo, you know. And Haize said it's not looking too good for Hugo. Hey, it is what it is. Maybe he could fall to us, maybe not. It is what it is. Whoever we pick, the center from Duke or whatever, I am just looking forward to keeping this damn pick. And that's my mindset. I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to stay tuned. I'm still going to support. But we already know what it is. And if y'all haven't figured it out yet, figure it out. You know, it's time to cope. Like how I've been coping with the coaching bullshit. I don't even want to talk about it. Haize, no. But it's time, Bulls, man. It's time. Come on, the team, keep the pick. And it's time to watch the party die. All right, King Drip. Appreciate you. Love you. All right, C-Red.
The Bulls right now have a 95% chance to keep their pick. And I know you say that's been your thing is watch the party die. And I'm going to fight back and say this. We may actually watch the party thrive. Because if the Bulls are able to keep their top 10 pick while not really having to give up any assets, that adds more flexibility to them, considerable more flexibility, right? And you then have a young player that's coming into structure. So we actually may see something actually work out a little bit better. I know there's been some Bulls fans like, we have to trade LaVine if we're going to keep our top 10 pick. How else can we develop him? And I told everybody this all the time. It's on coaching to do that. If a player can only develop when they don't have anybody else on the team to take shots, that's actually not a good pathway and a sign that they're going to actually be able to be a player that you can build around. So, you know, and again, I'm not saying that they can't look to move Zach. I do think depending on who they get, if they keep this top 10 pick and how they grow over the next couple of years, we'll see what happens. But I think that it gives the Bulls more flexibility, both short-term and long-term wise, and we'll see what happens there. But overall, like, keeping the pick seems like it's going to be a very good likely outcome now, and we'll see. Now, again, the Bulls are a very unlucky franchise, so we'll see. But right now, signs are pointing towards that the Bulls have a good chance to keep that pick. But that's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you ready if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.